conversation continues with reports of racial tension flaring in Phoenix, Kwazulu-Natal. We attribute, I beg your pardon, the alleged racial tension to the current looting and public violence, or is there deeper concern that needs to be addressed? Northwest University senior lecturer and political analyst, Dr. Thandolwethu Nomarwayi, joins me now to dissect this further. Dr. Thandolwethu, good evening, and thank you very much for your time and joining us tonight here on In Focus.
Good evening, Tammy, and good evening to the viewers at home.
Are you at all surprised that the civil unrest or looting or what the government would like to call economic sabotage has morphed into some kind of racial tensions in some parts of KwaZulu-Natal?
No, Tammy, I'm not surprised at all because this has been an ongoing issue for quite a long time, particularly in Durban. So what you see in the past few days is a response to those so-called racial tensions between the Indians, particularly those who own businesses, and Black Africans in township. And you'll also recall that the Indians in KZN or Durban, they are their biggest employer of Black Africans who reside in townships. So these unrests have sort of fueled those tensions between Indians and Black Africans who reside in townships, as I have said. But also there are other dynamics at play here of tribalism, which was sparked by the Concord judgment, which led to the imprisonment of former President Jacob Zuma. So these are two aspects that one has to look at. Of course, the racial tensions have been there for quite some time.
Now, the Minister of Police says to blame racism would be to excuse the criminality, because it were a racial situation, we would not have seen, yes, indeed, many people from Zwelitsha died, but they have been very much comrades in stealing.
Yes. So yes, there is an element of criminality in these unrest or riots, Tammy. But in the main, the economic inequality and racial inequality, which was exposed by COVID-19 and the lockdown, is quite explicit that it will lead to such events, to take place during difficult times. Yes, I agree. There is an element of criminality. Why am I saying that? If you notice in those malls, there are no placards which specify a particular grievance from the protesters or from the looters, which specify a specific need, for example, jobs or free Zuma campaign and so on and so forth. What you saw there is a large group of people who goes to those malls and loot. And also, it is not clear whether they are coming from a particular political party, or they are actually former President Zuma supporters, or they are just general residents of those provinces. In this case, KZN and Gauteng. So as I have said, it's a very complex issue, and from time to time, it differs from one province to the next. So why I'm saying that, for example, in Gauteng, I can safely assume that it is pure element of desperation, which is caused by frustration, issues of unemployment, inequality, and so on and so forth. But in KZN, it was expected because after the Concord judgment, there were signs that the province will be unruly. There's going to be chaos, as we might have seen at Nkandla before former President Zuma was arrested. So there were signs of chaos, the involvement of AKMV, the so-called AKMV, and also the Amabutho and other local organizations. And this is not new in KZN, because if you recall in 2007, in the run-up to Polokwane conference, the supporters of Jacob Zuma, whether within the ANC or outside the ANC, They have banned T-shirts that they have the face of former President Mbeki, and there were utterances such as "We will kill for Zuma," 100% Zulu boy, and so on and so forth. So this was expected, and in the main, this has to do with what is called ethnic mobilization.
Yeah. The president said that, I suppose, in his initial address on Sunday, and he said these had tones of ethnic mobilization. He has, of course, received a lot of criticism for that, to say, well, he is actually stoking up violence along tribal lines. I mean, was the president correct in his characterization?
Well, he was, because his statement was based on something. Because if you have seen, I think 2 days before the president, as I've said, handed himself to the SABs, there were utterances from the people who were supporting Jacob Zuma that you don't touch one of us. You dare touch one of us, and Zuma is not going to prison because of he's one of us. By that they mean he's one of the Zulus, so you don't touch the Zulus. And also, if you see the sort of the what's the word, the cultural or the traditional the traditional songs and dances that were taking place then, they show you that this has nothing to do with anything else but to support one of their own, which is President Zuma in this case.
Yeah.
And most of the people that were interviewed by media were coming from the Zulu ethnic group.
Talk to the question then of the coordination of this particular unrest, right? People who are hungry, by their nature, they don't decide to go and attack pots, right, where food is delivered.
Yes.
So they are attacking the distribution point, right? And not only that, they are going to attack the manufacturing point. Not only that, they're going to attack points of communication, networks, fuel, and places of medicine. It's not something that when somebody is hungry, they just decide to do this. There surely has to be something more at work here than just that.
Yes, Thabo. Yes, I agree with you, Thabo. It's not only about that. As I have said, there is an element of distraction here, just to get attention about a particular demand. Also, I've got a sense that there is a group that belongs to the radical economic transformation, and then this group, it seeks to destabilize the so-called white monopoly capital, because it is perceived that these malls that are looted belongs to white people, case of KZN, to the Indians. So the black community, they don't actually benefit to this economy. So the aim, which is more ideological attached, is to destabilize what is called the radical. So this group, the radical economic transformation group, is trying to destabilize what they perceive as the white monopoly capital.
Yeah, and that would mean then it would be in a sense contradictory, because himself, former President Jacob Zuma, is very much closely linked with the Indian community, particularly when you're talking the Guptas and his son Duduzane and their business dealings.
Yeah. Yeah, it is quite a contradiction, but remember that people on the ground, they don't see that way, because here now you have a desperation. You have unemployment that is increasing, you have lockdown that led to hunger and poverty, and people have actually not necessarily forgotten about the former president relationship and the Guptas, but now they are faced with the challenge of economic inclusion. So this one is very urgent, and you remember that public memory is very short. So it might happen that last week the president was with the Guptas, but if people are desperate today, they will forget that, and they will use whatever thing that is in front of them to sort of distract or to actually loot in this particular case.
Yeah. There was a strong movement previously in KwaZulu-Natal that we saw where the very same forces that you're referring to were saying there will be no foreign-owned spaza shop, for example, in the townships of KwaZulu-Natal. They even said there will be no white-owned funeral parlors, for example, in the townships of KwaZulu-Natal. We are seeing a shift this time. Much of the focus was not on the spaza shops and the township, but they were actually going to malls. Is there some thinking and analysis around that?
Yeah, there is. So what you might have seen in 2008 during the outbreak of xenophobia attacks, you saw that most of this violent looting in township, it was targeted towards foreign nationals who are owning spaza shops in township. Now there's a shift. So the residents now in those two provinces, for now, they are targeting shopping malls, in townships, which affects township economy. So why is that? It has an economic aspect in it, simply because now, because of people are losing jobs because of COVID-19, even before COVID-19, during 2008 economic meltdown globally, people are actually losing jobs. Now, the situation has been worsened by COVID-19 and these lockdowns. So now it's difficult. In fact, it's practically impossible for residents in each community to go and loot a spaza shop, which is the size of an RDP house, because the goods in that particular spaza shop will not be sufficient to feed the entire street or a particular community. So the goods in that particular spaza shop owned by foreign nationals is very small. So what is happening now? People are targeting shopping malls, because in shopping malls you have your Spar, you have your ShopRite, you have your Macro in some areas, and so on and so on. So what I'm trying to say is that now, because of COVID-19 lockdown, the demands have actually increased. So hence now these shopping malls, are a target, when it comes to try and not necessarily to resolve the issue of poverty, but looting now, we're going to see more of looting because people are hungry, people, are confronted by poverty. So these malls, these large malls will be unfortunately a target. And you'll also remember that in the development or the planning of these shopping malls, communities in most cases are not involved. So it's easy for people not to see value in them. That is, if they are confronted with a challenge such as unemployment, lockdown caused by COVID-19, hunger, and so on and so forth. So they didn't see value in that. Hence, it was easy in the past to go to foreign to spaza shop owned by foreign nationals, because it's very closer to them. It's like 20 minutes walk or 5 minutes walk. It depends, how close or how far you are with that particular spaza shop. But now people there are mobilizing to get more resources in those shopping malls.
Dr. Thandolwethu, I appreciate your time and thank you very much for joining us tonight. Dr. Thandolwethu Nomarwayi there. He is from the Northwest University, senior lecturer and political analyst. Let's continue for you. We'll get you a sense of what the minister in the presidency said earlier on today as she was briefing members of the media, but also Minister of the Police, Bheki Cele, was in Phoenix, and we'll bring you developments of what happened there. Stay with us.